Hi and welcome to another tutorial. In today's lesson we'll learn how to recreate this cool looking animation effect using Adobe Photoshop and After Effects. So anyways guys, let's jump in. So the first thing that we need here is we need some content, and I'm just using Adobe Firefly to generate this graphic for me. And what I basically searched for is a camera shot from behind of a man watching some screens. I initially wanted it to be a spaceship, but after seeing some of these outputs, I kind of settled for this one over here. Now, I did put in some things like dramatic lighting, cyberpunk themes, fantasy themes, as well as muted colors, but explore whichever app you're using to create the generative, graphics. And once you're happy with that, then just download it and we'll take it into Photoshop. So here we are in Photoshop, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on that lock layer over there to unlock the background. I then am going to grab the rectangular marquee tool and I'm just going to apply some Gen Fill over here. So if I just highlight that and then just click on Gen Fill. Cool, and now we've got a clean area to work with. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting out some of these elements. I'm going to start with the man over here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the object selection. I'm going to make sure that I'm on my background layer, and I'm just going to select the man over there. Now I think it does a pretty decent job of selecting him, and even if it's a little bit off, it doesn't really matter. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press Command J to now make that man into a new layer over here, so I have him separate. So that's pretty cool, but now we still have a problem that we have the man down here, so we have to remove him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Command, click on that layer 1, and then I'm going to go up to Select, Modify, Expand, and I'll expand this by about 10 pixels. I'll just press OK. So now we have a selection around the man, and then what we need to do is we need to get rid of him. So if I press on Gen Fill and then generate, cool, you can see that the man has disappeared. And there are different variations as well, but I'm just going to stick with the first one. And then once you have all of that, what you can do is we're just going to grab those 3 layers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click and go merge layers. And so now I have the man separated and I have the background down here. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to cut out the screens. So it's quite easy. Make sure you're on that background layer. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and click the magic wand tool, and then I'm going to click in this screen. Now it doesn't select everything, so I'm going to have to hold shift. And I'm just going to kind of click around until everything is highlighted. Do the same for this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I'm still holding shift. This time I can press shift, command and J, and now that will cut that out to a new layer as well. So if you don't want to use these in the final After Effects project, you can actually get rid of them and you can just leave it like that. So to make it easier, I'll just get rid of them just like that. And the final thing that we are going to do is we're just going to cut out that orb background. So I'm just going to go here again, object selection tool. And so if it doesn't pop up just like that, what you can do is you can just highlight it like that, and Adobe will do a pretty good job at creating that selection around it. So once you have that, I'm just going to press shift and command J, and then that will cut it to a new layer. And yeah, it's a bit, crazy in there. I mean, you can go back in there and fix it up, but I think for what we're doing, I think it will be fine. So now all I need to do is just rename these layers. So I'm just going to click on that, label that man. I'm going to click on this, label this orb, and then I'm just going to click on this and call it BG. Once you've done that, then all you have to do is just go to File, Save As a PSD document, and then we'll take that into After Effects. So here we are in After Effects, and the first thing that we need to do is we need to import our file. So if I just right click in here, go File, Import, now you'll be given a screen that looks like this. And basically what we want is we want the composition and we want to have the editable layer styles. Just press OK. I am going to create a new composition, and you can set it to whatever you like. So I'm probably going to set it to 1920 by 1080 pixels, duration about 15 seconds, and a frame rate of 30. Press OK. So now that I have that, then all I need to do is just import our assets. So I can just go down here and I can just highlight all these things and then just drag them in. So let's put the man, the orb, and the background just like that. And so now you can see that the image that we have is just a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight all of them and then just scale it down until it fits. So around there. Okay, cool. And then what we can do is now we can start to put the animations behind the screens. So we're going to be working underneath this layer because this is the layer that's cut already. And it's pretty easy. All you need to do is just download some assets. And to do that, I went to pixabay.com and this is all for free, and I've just downloaded some of these assets. Now, even when you go and download them, you don't even need them in the highest quality because the screen sizes aren't even that big. But once you've downloaded 6 or so, then we can take that into After Effects. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click and import those files as well. Cool, so now I have my files in there, and now you can pick and choose which ones you want to put in. So I'll start with, you know, these blue ones over here, and that will be my first screen. So all you have to do is just drag it underneath, and you can see that now obviously that even looks pretty good, but that's not what we're gonna go for. But I mean, if you want that as a look, you can. What I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, on that asset over there, I'm just gonna search for an effect which is called corner pin. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pin the top left-hand corner, the top right-hand corner, then the bottom left-hand corner, and then the bottom right-hand corner. And if you've done that, now you will get the perspective as well. And I think that looks pretty cool. So the remaining screens are all pretty much the same. So I'll just quickly fast forward through that. Cool. So now I have all the screens going, and you can see that they end at, you know, various times. So to increase this all to 15 seconds, I'm just going to duplicate the ones that are a little bit short. So for example, this one, I'm just going to press Command D to duplicate that, and that will get us 15 seconds. I'm also going to duplicate this one over here. That will also get us 15 seconds. And then finally, this one down here. Might as well just do it again just to get us to that end point. So now I'll have all the screens going all at once. So I think that's looking pretty cool. And now we can just dress it up a little bit more. So now obviously you can do the same thing for the orb in the background as well. And if you want to do something like that, you know, you can replace that with a screen if you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to search for an effect called brightness and contrast. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Option, hit that stopwatch over there. And then I'm going to write wiggle. And then I'm going to write, say, 50, 100. And basically what's that going to do is it's just going to kind of make that flicker. So you can see the flickering there, and I think that looks pretty cool. But I mean, if you want to add anything else to it, you can. So now once we have all of that, the next thing that we need to do is we just need to create a very simple scale in animation. And an easy way to do that is to just highlight all of our contents over here. And then if you just go to Layer, Pre-compose, we'll just call that Main, and we'll make sure we move all attributes. Now we have it all in one kind of pre-comp over here. And then if I just press S for scale, I'll hit that stopwatch. I'll move to the end of that timeline, and then I'll just bump that up to about 115. And so now we'll have a very, you know, subtle scale in animation. I think that's looking pretty cool. So now the final bit is just dressing it all up. The first thing that we need to do is we need to create an adjustment layer. And inside the adjustment layer, I'm just going to add some curves over here. So I'm just going to drop it down slightly, and then maybe I'll just bring this up a bit over there. So it's a little bit darker as well. So I think I like that. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'll add another adjustment layer, and in here I'm going to search for an effect called Lumetri Color. And in Lumetri Color, I'm just going to go to the creative section over here, and I'm just going to change the look. And I've really been liking this SL Gold Rush kind of look. And you can see what it does to the whole clip, and I think that looks pretty cool, but it's obviously way too much. So I'm just going to drop that down to about maybe 80 or so. And I think that's looking pretty nice as well. And then the final thing that we can do in here just to tie it all together is another adjustment layer. And this one, I'm just going to search for the effect called noise. And I'm just going to bump that up to about 10%. So now we have a little bit of grain on there. And that's basically it. So the only other thing that I did add was on the man over here. Red Giant have a really cool plugin called Edge Glow. And if you see on the original clip, like the man is just kind of standing there. The light, doesn't kind of reflect off his, clothes or anything like that. And what Edge Glow does is it softens those edges and it takes a little bit of the light from that's shining through, and then it kind of applies it to the edge. But honestly, it doesn't really even need it. Like, I think that looks great just like that. So yeah, so that's about it for this tutorial. That's a quick tutorial on how to, just cut something out in Photoshop and then just animate it quickly in Adobe After Effects. Anyways, guys, I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.